Tony Robbins is a best-selling author, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. For more than 37 years, millions of people have enjoyed the warmth, humor, and the transformational power of Mr. Robbins' business and personal development events. He's the nation's #1 life and business strategist. He's called upon to consult and coach with some of the world's finest athletes, entertainers, Fortune 500 CEOs, and even presidents of nations. Robbins is a founder of or partner in more than a dozen companies in industries as diverse as a 5-star island resort in Fiji to custom 3D printed prosthetic limbs. Through the Anthony Robbins Foundation and his matching funds, Tony feeds 4 million people per year in 56 countries. He's also initiated programs in more than 1,500 schools, 700 prisons, and 50,000 service organizations and shelters. He lives in Palm Beach, Florida. Tony, it is so amazing to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
So I think I told you this way back when you interviewed me for the New Money Masters. You know, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. When I was in my early 20s, I went to Unleash the Power Within.
Yes.
And you made such an impact on me, and it's influenced everything I've done personally and everything in my business. And I just want you to hear like who you are, what you do, how you serve. It makes such a huge difference, and it means the world to me to have you here today.
Oh, that is so sweet of you.
So
thank you for that.
Let's get started, because one of the things I admire so much about you is your energy and your passion and your stamina. I mean, you've been doing this for over 3 decades, and I know everybody watching
Actually getting closer to 4
which is awesome. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I so admire is I feel like you keep getting better. You keep doing more. You keep serving on a higher level. And from a personal, just stamina standpoint, tell us a little bit about what you do every day. What are your habits? How do you keep yourself at this high level of service?
Well, I think there's the physical side of it, which, I do the equivalent of an ultra marathon every weekend. I do 52 hours. On the last day, I did 26.5 miles. The previous day, 22 miles. So just the physical side, you have to be in incredible shape. And I'm in better shape physically today, both my endurance and my muscular strength and so forth, than when I was 25, which is wonderful. And so I do certain things for that. But I think I should mention first, what's even more important is the psychological, spiritual side of things, because I think energy comes first, not from your body. It doesn't come from eating. It doesn't come from sleeping, because I've gone without those things for long periods of time and still been able to deliver. It comes from having a mission. It comes from something that you're being pulled by, not something you're pushing on. Those are 2 forms of motivation. You can push yourself to do things, and there's only so much you can push yourself to do. But if you're pulled, if there's something that you want to serve that's greater than yourself, there's something that excites you, if there's something that you're about, something you're made for, then there's a level of energy that most people would never dream of. And we all have that, but most of us don't connect to it and unleash it. So every day I connect and unleash that every single day. I don't hope it's going to be there, even though I know it will be, even though it's there. I don't take it for granted. And so I start out with my day by a process I do called priming. And what priming is, it's not a meditation, but it has meditative qualities. And what I do is I sit down. The first thing I do in the morning, I go and I jump in a hot tub or a hot water type of experience, and then I go to a freezing water. All my homes, I'm fortunate enough to have multiple homes, that I go, one of them I have a river I get to jump in. You've been there.
Yeah.
There are other places I have these cold plunges. And I do that to train my nervous system to go from 0 to 60 like that. Every muscle, every nerve in your body, every organ gets, when you hit 57-degree water, it hits. And so it's just my mental discipline. Then the second thing I do is I prime. And priming is I sit down and I do a minimum of 10 minutes, because my mindset is, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life.
Right.
So there's no excuse. So every day, sit down, and what do? I do 3.5 minutes where I do an explosive breathing pattern, a pattern that changes my biochemistry. And after I've done that, 30 of these intense breaths 3 times, I close my eyes, and I'm kind of in an altered state, and I focus first for 3.5 minutes on just everything in my life, at least 3 things that I'm really, truly grateful for. And I don't do that in a hokey way. I don't do it in a mental way. I step into my body and feel it, and I make sure at least one of those things is something really simple. The wind against my skin, the look on my son's eyes or daughter's eyes, something that is just very fundamental, but I cultivate that feeling of gratitude, of appreciation for those feelings. And I do it for 3.5 minutes. Then I do 3.5 minutes where I do this process of focusing on healing, strengthening, and serving. And I start in a circle, starting with myself, and then I go through all the people in my life and associates, and I just send love to them. Again, it may sound corny, but to me, it's a part of what I'm here for. And it's a part of cultivating that energy, that healing and strength energy, and strengthening my passion, my appreciation, my insights, my capacity, my endurance. And then I do the last 3 minutes are what I call 3 to Thrive, which is what is it that I really want to make happen? And sometimes I do that over what I'm going to do for the next 6 months or month, and sometimes it's today. I shake it up. But I see and feel and own that those things are done. And that starts, pretty much my day between those 2 items. And, then I have my workouts and things that I do of that nature.
Yeah. And how about eating wise? Has that changed for you a lot over the years?
It's pretty simplistic. I'm very simple. I eat salad and I have some protein. I have fish or I'll have turkey bacon. I don't eat red meat or chicken, but those are the things that I have usually in the morning, and my afternoon, evening meals are pretty simple as well. But, before I met my wife, Sage, she's been the greatest gift of my life. When we first met, she's a phlebotomist and a nutritionist and acupuncturist, so I thought this is going to be the easiest thing in the world. And I'll never forget, we went on this date and she had a wheatgrass juice, and I was like, wow, this is going to be so easy, man. This is awesome. And then she ordered a hot fudge sundae, and I was like, what in the hell are you doing? And she goes, eating, you bastard. I should give some term around bastard that I was like too rules driven. And so she had this whole thing, you zig and then you zag. So I do that with her now. I do enjoy other aspects of life, but when I first met her, I noticed she zigged a lot more than she zagged, or the other way around, I don't know which one it was, but it's been a nice balance in my life. So I enjoy food and things of that nature, but I use food mostly as fuel because life gives me so much juice. I'm not looking to get out of food usually.
And how about, because I know for me, my mind can go and I have so much excitement and so much passion that at night, sometimes winding down. Do you have a wind down process?
My wife would say no. I say yes. She would say no. My wife loves sleep.
Yeah.
My wife can sleep 8 hours. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. To me, it's like sleep when you die. So that was one of the first things in our relationship that was a bit challenging, because I'd want to get up and just go. I'll never forget, we were in Fiji, and it's like, even there, we're supposed to be on vacation. It's our home. I'd jump up at 6 in the morning, and she's like, where the hell are you going? I'm going to start my day, run up the mountain, do it. She goes, get in bed. I'll show you how to start your day. It's like, okay, now that's a better way to start my day.
Totally.
But now what I've done is I get in bed with her, because she's a lady. If you get up in the middle of the night, where are you going? China. Where do you think I'm going? It's 3 in the morning. I'm going to the bathroom, So I've learned to get my work done in bed beside her, and then she goes to sleep. But I watch silly movies. I watch things to let my brain disappear. Reading does not slow me down, because then I start incorporating and using it. My mind goes crazy. I'm underlining everything. But I'll watch cartoon type movies like Family Guy or something to knock my brain out, quite frankly. Or I'll watch some silly series, I don't know. I'm thinking of now the different ones. What is it? Revenge or something of that nature. Something that my brain can just truly let go, and that's how I do it for the most part.
Awesome. So, you've worked with presidents. You worked with people like Serena Williams and, one of the greatest investors in the world, Paul Tudor Jones. When you're called in to work with these incredible folks, how do you start to prepare yourself? Like, what are the questions that you ask to start to go in to serve at that level?
Well, they're different for everybody, obviously, but what I try to do, if I was trying to look at it from a universal perspective, I guess what I really want to know before I get there as much as I can is everything I can about the person. And I do that because I really want to know, what do they want? What do they want of their life? What's their mission? What are they after? And what do they fear? What are their concerns? Because I believe life is found in the dance between what you desire most and what you fear most. And if I know those 2 edges of a person, I know a lot. And then I dig under and try to learn as much as I can from other people about whatever the challenge may be. And then I go prepared to just learn from the person directly. But I want to know as much as I can before I go in there. Then I take all that I think I know, and then I see what's really real when I meet them. And I'm digging in to discover what's the challenge, what do they perceive it is. And usually, if I were to grossly generalize, if you're going to help somebody create a breakthrough, it all comes down to 3 areas. Either they've altered their strategy. We all have strategies, a specific way of succeeding, and sometimes we alter it, whether it be in sports or whether it be in finance or any other area. We forget something, we lose a little edge, we drop something out, and then it becomes a bad habit. Or sometimes it's a change in our beliefs. Like, you may have done something for decades and been really successful, but now, I know one gentleman who's a good friend of mine that, had 52 Academy Award nominations, and he said to me one day, he said, if I make one more freaking movie, I'll kill myself. He's just like, I don't want to make a movie, I don't want an Academy Award, I don't want any of these things, And it's just like he's satiated. And so sometimes when people get satiated, they lose their hunger, they shift their beliefs. And when you change a belief, you change your biochemistry. When you change your belief, you change the way you execute, you change everything. And we all develop stories. And sometimes stories are empowering, and sometimes the mental stories are disempowering. So I'm listening for those. I'm digging for those. And then I also look at their state. Because you could do the same exact action from a place of being pissed off or from a place of playfulness, and the same action's not going to get you the same result. And so I'm looking for that quality of what's going on in them. And then I look and try to find out what it was like before. So with Paul Tudor Jones, I went back and I watched videos of him when he was at his best. And I saw how he used his body and the way he moved. And I saw him now sitting still and kind of slumped over, and he'd broken his leg and he had talked at a different tempo. So I look at biochemically what's happening, physiologically. I look at psychologically what's going on, and then I look at structurally what they're doing. And then I develop a plan to help them get back to where they were and beyond, to better performance than they had before.
Incredible. The other thing that I was fascinated I wanted to ask you so bad, you probably accomplish more than most people do in, I don't even know a time frame. And of course, you get to talk with people who are at the highest level of their game. When it comes to productivity, what do top performers know that a lot of people just don't? What are we missing?
Well, I think the best performers are focused on outcomes and not activities. If you try to manage your to-do list in the world we live in today, where most of us have multiple roles, we're trying to be a great business person, a great husband or wife, great father, great community member, or whatever, there's just so many roles, you can never get all your to-dos done. And what helped me in my life was I started at one point saying, I'm not going to let myself fail every day. I'm not going to pick a to-do list, and I'm not going to not write a list so that I don't fail. I need to focus on what matters most. I needed to organize my life into categories where I say, these are the most important outcomes, and then I know why I'm going to do it. If you know what you really want, the target, and you know why, you have the focus and you have the fuel, then how to get there, there's so many ways to get there. And then the most important thing I think that the most productive people do is we leverage what we do. We don't delegate. Delegation is I give it to you, and then when it doesn't work out, I'm pissed at you. Leverage is I empower you. If I'm leveraged, I'm still part of that, and I'm going to make sure you succeed. I'm going to follow up. I'm going to make sure before the deadline I touch base with you. I'm going to make sure you have the resources to succeed. But what I do is empower people. Go, here's the outcome, here's the why. I get you and I aligned with the outcome and the why. You figure out how you want to do it. I'm open. You want brainstorm with me, I'll do it. You'll probably come up with better ideas than I do. And when you empower people to come up with their own how, and they know what and why, you can get the job done 100 times faster, especially if you get a group of people. I'm a big believer that early in my life, I thought I was such a smart person. I'm going to solve all this stuff. Part of it was being responsible, and part of it is ego that we all have inside ourselves if we've succeeded to a certain extent. I said, this is bullshit. You know what? Instead of one person solving 12 problems, I want 12 people to solve one problem. And I developed that practice, and I began to find that people that many people thought weren't going to contribute had insights nobody else had. I really got it from Steve Wynn. Steve Wynn's a dear friend of mine, and he's rebuilt Las Vegas, one of those brilliant men I know, multi-billionaire. And Steve really learns the most from the bellmen, from the people that would never make it into the C-suite. He learns what customers are feeling, what they're experiencing, how to have an impact, what needs to be changed, because these people are on the front lines. So I'm a big believer that you need leverage. And if you're just starting out in business, I know a lot of people that will probably watching your shows are watching you because you're a successful businesswoman who's built your own entrepreneurship. You've done so many great things. I think in the very beginning, the hard thing is you think you can only do it yourself, and then there's only so many hours, and you've got kids and family and friends, and how do I do it all? The answer is you hire someone. You trade with someone. You trade them for 2 hours. That's what I did in the beginning. Because I'll never forget, I was just really young in my career, very in the early days, and I was running to get to the dry cleaners so I could get my only 2 suits. Because if I didn't get them, then the place closes, then I can't get on the plane, running to the airport, sweating like crazy. I'm a sweater anyway. Right? It's like sweating like this, trying to get in the door, and it's like, what is wrong with this picture? I could be doing something that's so productive, and I'm standing in line at the dry cleaning place. And it's just nuts. And so I was really young. I was like 17, 18, 19, I don't know what it was. And I said, I'm going to hire somebody. 2 hours a day, that's what I had to start with. And it was 4 hours. And so my view is I don't do anything that someone else can do better, and I don't do anything that isn't the highest and best use of my time. Now, when I say that, that's gross generalization. There are things I still will do. But for the most part, by finding people and getting clear on outcomes and the why, what I call RPM, you got to know the result, you got to know the purpose, and then you got to have a massive action plan. And the plan can change. But that RPM, the stronger the RPMs, the faster that car is going to move. And I try to do that not just through myself, but through other people.
Beautiful. So last thing I want to talk about before we dive into the monster book, which I can't wait to get to, is this idea of slumps. I know a lot of times you're called in when someone's, either hit a plateau or they're having a tough time. So 2 questions. A lot of folks that write in, they'll ask me questions or they'll just comment on the blog, and they find themselves in a tough spot. Maybe they've experienced a certain level of success, and like you said with your friend Peter, it's just like, I don't want this anymore. I don't know what I want next. Any common patterns or things that you can share about slumps and how we can support ourselves to get out of them?
Well, most people hit plateaus, and the most important thing when you hit a plateau is not to be pissed off and stressed out about it, because stress won't make it better. It's also not to take it lightly and go, oh my God, this doesn't matter. It's that delicate balance where you say, okay, how do I get from where I am to where I really want to be? And if you don't put the emotional charge on it, it's easier, but that's easier to say and harder to do. The pattern I see in slumps, whether it be an athlete or a financial trader or an actor or any of that nature, is number one thing that causes a slump usually is you get too comfortable. When you start doing something and you're really successful, a lot of people lose their hunger. And if you ask me, what is the single most important element of any human being that separates their level of success from the rest of the world? It's hunger. It isn't intelligence, as valuable as that is. There are people that are incredibly intelligent, can't fight their way out of a paper bag. You show me somebody who's not only hungry but doesn't lose their hunger, they will dominate everything. And you see that in the greatest sports stars, the greatest entertainers, the ones that they're insatiable. And because of that, you like being around them because there's this energy about them, this passion about them, and very few people maintain that. And you lose your hunger, you go into a slump. You get overconfident.